Welcome to Texas Platinum, the last of the real water cooler talk shows on YouTube. I am Trevor, joined by both Matts tonight, or whenever you're watching this. And the Texas Longhorns are the #1 team in the country. We have never been able to say that on this show. So the fact that we are saying it now, 4 years in? Four seasons, maybe 5 seasons into doing this thing is quite the testament to the Longhorns' progression and our loyalty to the program. So we are very happy to see it. We're gonna just kind of do more of a general show. We got a lot of thoughts going on after the past 3 games that have gone on this season, and we play Louisiana Monroe here soon. We're not going to touch too much on that game. That should be honestly kind of a fun game, a tune-up game for this team before getting into SEC play. But we'll kind of touch on Quinn, Arch, the team, all that kind of stuff in this video. So just kind of sit back and relax and enjoy us on that journey. But like I said, please like, comment, subscribe, all the usual. Thank you for watching, and let's get going. Haven't heard from Madrid in a minute, so we're going to hand it over to him.
Thank you.
What are your thoughts on Texas being #1, that journey, all the sweat and the tears that have gone into
mainly tears on our end,
there.
but not a lot of sweat. But we got #4 last year, and I thought in that moment I was like, wow, this is what it feels like, to be up there. I think I was wrong. This is what it feels like to be up there. #1 brings #1 means you have aura, man. Like you have everything going for you. Like you're at the mountain. Like there's no other than winning it all. There's like this is what you need to be like to win it all. This is where you need to be at. And right before we got on, I was telling the boys, I was like, I mean, I was barely alive the last time this happened, and I remember thinking about it, being like, oh, Texas is #1, and thinking, oh, that's just how it always is. Texas is #1. Texas football's king in Texas. Why wouldn't we be #1? And then as I slowly started getting into Texas football and following it closely as I became a teenager, I quickly realized that was not the reality, and how much football season could be a living hell. But we're back. I say that without even like shaking anymore, because I know the system we have, and I know the players we have, and the culture we have, and the staff we have, and it's just an exhilarating feeling to know that it's earned. I will say it's kind of surprising to gain #1 despite Georgia winning a game, but I'll take it how I can. I will say though, Georgia, if anyone was watching that game, you can't put up that type of performance. You can win, right? But I need you to win by at least a touchdown or 2, even if that, to make me believe that that you're worth the #1. I think that what really helped us put us over the top was the fact that we lost our starter, and then we put in another one, and we really didn't miss a beat. Granted, against UTSA, but had all the makings of we don't have a quarterback anymore. Things might get kind of shaky. Hey, let's even think about it like last year. We put in Malik, and like we won the game against Houston, but we almost didn't, and it looked shaky against a Houston team. Respect to the Houston team, but things could have gotten a little shaky against the feisty UTSA team, before going into half. So I think it's just a testament again to where we are right now and where we are going, and I think everyone should at least enjoy it for as long as they can, and hopefully forever.
Right, you nailed it. You nailed it. And I think it's a huge accomplishment. I know it's just week 4 AP ranking #1, but if you look back over the last decade, like the teams that have been ranked #1 in the AP poll, there's like 4 or 5 of them. It's Bama, Georgia, Clemson, Ohio State. that might be the whole list, maybe a couple more here and there in Michigan. But I think the last year it felt a lot like we were really good. Um, and we felt that on our best day we could give Georgia a game, give Bama a game. We could beat them in certain areas, but there were a lot of deficiencies with our team, specifically the back end. Um, Quinn wasn't as dialed in as he is this year, and there were holes, and we didn't have the depth we have this year, so it didn't feel as dominant. We know we played with our food a lot, but now the fact that we're rank one means that we're passing the eye test now in terms of not just the eye test, like the Georgia, Alabama, Nick Saban, Kirby Smart level eye test. And you can see it with how dominant we are every week. And people are trying to downplay this Michigan win now. Of course, it was A&M and Oklahoma fans before that game saying Texas is about to get humbled in the big house against a real opponent. And then as soon as Texas just embarrassed them in their own house, it's shifted to Texas hasn't played anybody. It's a whole new Michigan team. They lost everyone. So I don't care if Michigan's not a national championship contender. Going into that environment, a 16-game home winning streak and winning that game so easily, that's a tier one win, no matter how you look at it, even if Michigan ends up going 8-4 this year. So I think Texas has a pretty good resume, and then we're just dominating who's put in front of us. And I do like how Sark in the locker room seems to kind of appreciate where we've come from while also being mindful of like, this is just week 4. There's so much more to accomplish. This team, like you can truly say, like last year was like, maybe we can steal a national championship. Because I remember making the playoff and vividly I remember thinking, holy crap, if we beat Washington or the national championship, it didn't feel real. Just kind of because, we kind of, hung around with some lower level opponents all year. It's kind of, I don't know, just stumbled our way. We were good, but this year it just feels like no matter if we play a good game, we should beat everyone on our schedule, and that includes Georgia. And you just see it with the depth and the talent and the speed, and just this team has just looks so different than last year in a good way, I think. And there's a couple holes not holes, but things I'd like to see improve, and I'll get to that. But overall, man, I think this is a better outcome than I expected. This team definitely seems like it's taken a step forward after last year took a huge step forward. So Sark is just raising the bar, and Texas is number one. The haters were furious, and we never wavered, boys. We went through some dark days recently, 5-7 a couple of years ago. BJ Foster diving at air, just a lot of dark days, man. Iowa State, TCU losses, Baylor losses. So it's so nice to. This one we appreciate a lot more now because we've come through when we were kids and Texas was number one, beating USC and then going with 08 and 09 with Colt. We were kind of born into that. That was like Madrid said, just what happens when you're a Texas fan. But now we've suffered, so it's nice to actually appreciate it this time around.
Yeah, it's been quite the journey. Getting back to or just getting to this point in general. I was looking at before Texas even got, the number one ranking after, seeing that Georgia was struggling against Kentucky. I was like, we may get this number one ranking. And like, when was the last time that we were like number one? And it was 08 after OU. But even before 08, the whole century, the whole 2000s, Texas was never number one. I mean, we were number one after the Rose Bowl national championship, but during the regular season, Texas has been number 2 and gotten very close to number 1, but actually never quite was number 1 outside of that 08 season for like 3 games, 4 games. So not even that long. So it's quite an accomplishment. It's not something, even though like we're saying, oh, Texas was this when, mid to late 2000s, that was Texas, which is kind of true. But in reality, like this is like, a very high moment in this program and in this century, which is pretty impressive to say. And yeah, I very much agree with you, Myers. Coming into this season, I felt very good about this team, but I don't know if I felt as good I was wondering if it was going to be like on par with the team last year. Because last year, I feel like it was a lot of players that had been in the program for a long time and were developing, and the camaraderie was there. You could see the love that the teammates shared with each other, and veterans like Sweat and Murphy and um, Jordan Whittington, people that have been, along with this program for so many years. And this year is a lot of, I mean, there are veteran people here for sure, but like a Jade Barron, but at the same time, a lot of transfers, ton of transfers and young players, young stars, Anthony Hill, Colin Simmons, a lot of new. And I knew that the talent was probably better, but was the camaraderie there? Was the culture actually there for all these new people to come together and kind of make magic happen per se? And it's better. It's the best that I think I've ever seen personally. I wasn't really present to watch '05, but from people that I've talked to that were, this is on par with that essentially. I mean, Vince Young was Vince Young. You can never really replicate that, but as a team, I feel like, offensive line, wide receiver talent, everything is on par to what that was. Definitely different, but the talent is there for sure. And the culture is there for sure. I think that's even the biggest thing is the fact that we've gone this many games into the season. Michigan, obviously a big game. Um, but even the other opponents, I feel like there hasn't been any dip in in production for this team and fight or how they perform. I feel like the whole idea of playing down to our competition has almost evaporated, which is amazing to say because for so many years that was one of Texas's biggest struggles is playing down to our competition and or getting up really big for the big game. I feel like this team has finally reached an apex to where every game is essentially, I mean, it's not always going to be exactly the same. Like that's pretty impossible to pull off, but like every week it feels like foot on the gas, playing to the level that they can. There's consistency there. And it's not like a get up, get down type team. Um, and I think that's probably the biggest. I mean, the talent, the depth is all that, but the consistency, I think, is probably the biggest differentiator that I see in this team, even compared to last year's, where there were up and down moments, much better than previous years, but there still were up and down. I mean, we barely beat Kansas State, we barely beat Houston. There were a few scary games. I don't see that as much with this team. And I know we got, some I'm curious to see how we do on the road and on the road in Arkansas and at Texas A&M, but I don't know. I'm feeling pretty good about the spirit of this team.
I'm glad you brought that uh, part of the team up. Something I've always like noticed about the mark of like good teams was obviously talent, right? But it's their belief. You can just tell that they believe in themselves. It's not even about like, I mean, obviously you got to believe in the man next to you, but like you got to believe in yourself and that you're going to go out and take care of business every single game, every single day. And you could just tell the past, well, you could just tell on any team when they have it or not, or if they have that belief that they're going to go out and do what they want to do. More often than not with those type of teams, you get big wins, you get blowout wins because they go out and do what they do. They believe in what they're going to do. But I think what the best part about that is eventually we're gonna have a tight game, and in those tight games, for fans like me and even the players on the field too, there's this collective energy when you feel like I know at the very least that they're going to go out there and like at some point get theirs. Where they win, well, that's just up to like the other team too, right? There's not much you can do about that. But like when it comes to like, oh, it's 2 minutes left, we're down five, right? We need a touchdown to win. Do I think we could go down and get that touchdown no matter what, even if we were playing a screwy game before that? You asked me that 3 years ago, or even with Sam, I'm like, we're not driving them. No, we're not. Like, something bad's gonna happen. You know what I mean? Something bad's gonna happen. Or we need to get a stop, right? Right before Justin Jefferson's taking it down the sideline to beat us. Like, yeah, of course that happens. You know what I mean? Now I feel like we have that mojo momentum on our side. And that's truly, I think, that belief that you can overcome anything is like the hallmark of a great team. And I whether or not we actually do overcome everything that comes our way to be determined, but I think there is a belief around this team and this roster and even the fans that like they will get damn near close and if not finish the job. And I think that's exactly where you want to be, uh, especially in year 4 of a program. That's spectacular.
Right, exactly. And I remember saying the same exact thing last year going into Washington. Not exactly the same, but it started feeling like there's just no way this team will lose. Like for the most part, I mean, we lost to Washington, and of course, we had deficiencies last year, and we came up short in the playoff. But yeah, I agree, Matt. It feels like we have so much talent, belief, such a good culture, so much depth that we're basically inevitable against whatever opponent. And that doesn't mean we're going to go undefeated. That doesn't mean we're going to win the national championship. But you know that in every game, we're going to have a very good chance to win every single game. And we see that. I do want to kind of transition this now because it's going to be different now with if assuming Quinn has to miss more time. We know that we don't know much about Arch Manning. I mean, of course, he lit it up the world on fire Saturday, but I think a lot of the identity that we're talking about with this team is based on Quinn Ewers being there because Quinn Ewers is a guy you can trust to go into Kyle Field and silence that crowd in the first quarter, second quarter. So he done it at Brian Denny, did it at the Big House. So we don't know what Arch is going to be like in those big moments yet, and he's still young, so we don't necessarily expect him to be lighting the world on fire in Red River if he has to play immediately, because that's a very emotional, hostile environment when you're on the other side of the 50. So I think that's going to be what we need to watch going forward. I think we'll learn a lot more about Arch this week against ULM if he continues just to light it up. I know ULM's not the greatest, but I think that'll be a great sign. But I think for this team to reach the expectations that we have of going to the national championship and winning that game, it's just got to be Quinn. It's got to be Quinn, in my opinion. Not to say Arch can't get us there, because he may very well be as talented as Quinn, and he does things obviously different and better than Quinn in certain areas. But I feel like the identity of this team was predicated on Quinn being our leader, and we saw that at Michigan. Just the leadership, the poise, his ability to throw on the run that we hadn't seen. He had great footwork against like a really probably the best defense we'll play outside of maybe Georgia. So I really want to get Quinn back, and it's a bummer because he had that Heisman hype. It was a lock, and they were going for it too. I mean, we were throwing like all over the place the first quarter against UTSA. There, like Sark is playing into that. Sark, or at least was, but now all bets are probably off on that front, unfortunately. But hopefully Quinn can come back for the Mississippi State game. But I'm kind of curious what y'all's thoughts. I'll pass it to you, Trevor, on this dynamic of Quinn and Arch and the future of the team.
Yeah, I think you said it perfectly. And I think the educated Texas fan would definitely agree with you. It's funny seeing just how much the media rides Arch. It's kind of hilarious when, Texas gets the number one ranking in every single graphic that you see by ESPN or any sports media outlet has Arch right on it as if he's the guy that got us over the hump. And it's really not fair for Quinn. Obviously, we all love Arch. He's going to be a god next year. You could say that he's already kind of that. But this is clearly Quinn's team. Quinn has been with Sark for 3 years now. He was there for, not for 5 and 6, but he was there for 8 and 5 or whatever that, initial season was. He's developed under him. I think it's not only fair, but I think he is right now the better quarterback. Can Arch surpass him? I think so. but the experience, the leadership has been huge. I mean, you can't stress that enough. Seeing him against Michigan, all the videos that the Texas media team captured of him yelling in the tunnel, yelling on the sidelines. We saw Quinn be vocal against Alabama, um, but this seemed like a whole nother level of vocality that we've never seen from Quinn. And it didn't seem fake either. It didn't seem like he was doing this just because he had to or needed to be the leader and they're like, hey, we really need you to be vocal. Like this seemed like he really wanted it. Um, and just his calmness and poise in the pocket against Michigan. Again, great defense. I don't know. I do think that Quinn really thinks that, I mean, obviously this is his, kind of his last ride, but I do really think that he's reached a point to where he's playing for a Heisman. He's playing for winning a national championship, and it's not just like, oh, I'm expected be playing for that. I think he legitimately wants it. Um, and that's a dangerous combination when you have the talent that Quinn has. So yeah, I'm curious what happens here. Obviously he won't play this weekend, but against Mississippi State, like that's a game that you're gonna put up some numbers. And I would love to see Quinn get back in there if he can, if he's healthy enough. Obviously, don't risk it. Um, I think in most years, I would say sit out, wait till Oklahoma. Um, Not that he needs like reps or anything, like more rest is better, but I don't know. I want him to get that Heisman. I want him to go to New York if anything. And I feel like missing 2 games, that's getting into the territory of like, okay, will even if he plays great rest of the year, will that still allow him to get in? I don't know. If he misses 1 game, I don't think that's an issue. I really don't. Especially if he balls out against Oklahoma and Georgia, which I think, I mean, all signs indicate that he would. Um, the only key here is this injury going to be a lagging, not lagging, but nagging injury? Is it going to be something that continues to be an issue? Hopefully not. I'm not a doctor. Maybe Myers knows a little bit more than myself. Maybe not, but um, yeah, this is his team, plain and simple. And I'm excited to see Arch get reps and continue to develop, but he's untested. And as great as he can be and probably is, you need that veteran leadership right now. And it only makes sense. The team's better with Quinn starting, plain and simple. Um, Next season will be different, though.
All right. Yeah.
Madrid,
But
what do you think?
No,
You
I
have
was just gonna
thoughts?
say, yeah, no, yeah, I just quick one. We all knew we all said it. Like Quinn gets hurt, like he's due for an injury per year. So think about him compared to Arch is, Arch has the bigger build. Quinn, he's not small, but he's smaller and he's susceptible to getting crunched sometimes. Good news, it's just an oblique injury, so it's not like it's a bone or a ligament or even a tendon or anything. So it's mainly just like, letting the swelling go down and pain tolerance. Um, but yeah, short and sweet. This is Quinn's team. He needs to be out there leading us. I think Arch has the sauce to like if something bad happens, like he could play the rest of the season. I think he had it's I mean, you saw it at the UTSA. The guy's kind of blind in the pocket sometimes. Like he needs that awareness to go up a little bit. But that just comes with reps and times. He has the raw ability to hang with anyone though. So uh, I think that's a good sign. But from my heart, I need my quarterback back. I need my 3rd year starter in the system who knows it like the back of his hand. Like that doesn't all talent in the world doesn't beat like that type of talent plus experience. It's we need him.
The ultimate
yeah.
road warrior. I mean,
Yeah.
Myers said
I
it
mean,
earlier, but
with Quinn's record against anyone and
on the road. Yeah.
on the road, like that's unheard of.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah. You want him in Kyle Field and Fayetteville and
He
all
doesn't
those
flinch.
environments.
Doesn't flinch.
Yeah, our last home loss was that at Oklahoma State when Quinn was like bad as a freshman. That one game where he
Uh,
had the hurt hand. I think that was our last road loss. We just,
yeah, when he
but
literally was playing with a bad hand.
yeah.
Yeah.
So
And he
yeah,
had like a long for like he almost won us that game, but he had that long run called back on some BS holding call. I remember that. Thought that was
def-
gonna be a moment for him, but he learned a lot from that game.
definitely. And I guess yeah, the quiet like the confidence in his team comes from Quinn a lot. So, anyways, I think speaking on Arch, and I'll kind of use this to transition us to the next topic. It's nice though to get Arch these reps right now because I mean, week one next year is at Ohio State. So it's nice that Arch's first start won't be at Ohio State. He's getting a lot of reps this year, a couple starts, it looks like, or at least one start against ULM, and that's huge. But also, what's so cool about this team is they're so good, and this might be like the best freshman class I've ever seen, like impact wise, this early at Texas. So the future's even brighter. I mean, guys like Ryan Wingo, Colin Simmons, Jarrett Gibson, Ty Anthony Smith. The list goes on and on and on. And these are guys that are Sark guys that have bought into the culture that all they know is Texas being elite and Texas carrying themselves in a certain way. You know, the ways that Barron Sorrell, Jade Barron, they lay the groundwork for it. And you know, Jordan Whittington, Roshan, they pass it down, and now it's just what they've been brought up in. And it's just so nice to see all these young guys making an impact. And they're all getting a lot of reps too. I think Sark's been very intentional about developing the depth on this team, and you can see it. And that's going to be so huge as we get into SEC play and get in close games, inevitably, where we have to outlast a team, and you know, in a rock fight, and cardio comes into play, and depth and injuries. So that's going to be huge for us down the stretch. And it's so obvious right now that we're the deepest we've ever, at least I've ever seen as a fan. And so it's just so exciting to see that Sark's building this thing to last and honestly to continue to improve going forward. It's very much like I said, it feels very much like Bama and Georgia once Saban and Kirby got those things up and running. That's kind of how it feels like the early phases of that right now.
I
Yeah.
mean, stability. Sorry, yeah, I mean stability allows you to plan long term. When you know you're on the hot seat, you're just looking for anything to help you win now, anything to help plug the holes now, meaning taking anything you can from the transfer portal, any kind of risk on a recruit, you're willing to like, instead of being picky and getting what you want, you just you get what's right in front of you, right? Sark, you got that extension, you got the belief of boosters, of the fans, of everyone, and it allows you to, plan long term. And not only is getting those freshmen like reps important in their growth, they're going to get approached during the summer with a deal from another school. I guarantee you. There's just a few of those guys. And at least, I mean, I'd put our bags against anyone, but if it's bag for bag, we'll be like, hey, we got you playing time as a freshman immediately and impact, and you made impacts on this team immediately. We care about your future, and anything to give us leverage in that situation, I think, is a very smart thing to do nowadays. So give these talented freshmen more touches when it's needed, of course.
Yeah. Looking ahead, it will be interesting to get into negotiations because that's what it's going to turn into. And everyone's prices are going to go up, and it's like, how do you manage? How do you manage to pay a team?
Any little
It's wild.
argument and leverage, yeah, anything we can use in our favor, we have to.
Yeah. Yeah. Um, I kind of want to shift unless you guys want to stay here, I kind of want to shift the topic more. Are y'all feeling different about your record predictions for the season? Um, and what, like, it looks like we can win. Not even it looks like we can win every game from here on out. I firmly believe that we could go undefeated. Um, Easier said than done, even with a team like what we have. Um, how are y'all feeling about your record predictions, and what do you think? could potentially slow Texas down or lead to a
Oh,
loss.
I think well, the thing that changes with my record position, I said we went 10-2, we lose two games, and it was like Georgia. I said Georgia in one of the rivalry games.
Yeah.
We're not losing A&M. We're not
Yeah, we
losing A&M.
all we all thought we were going to lose to A&M.
I don't
I
think we're
think there's still a
losing.
chance. I think there's
I
still
like
a
Marcel
chance.
Reed. I like Marcel Reed. I think if he's playing by the end of the year, he might do one of those crazy like you know dual threat quarterback. Just we just can't stay home type things, and he's
I'm
breaking
not
it open.
I'm not worried
I
about
mean, I'm
him.
not moved either, but I'm just saying I don't think they have the juice like that, and
I don't either.
even with rivalry
It's
rivalry
only because of what
momentum,
it is. It's only because it's a rivalry
I've
game in
seen it,
College
I've seen
Station.
it.
They'll look like a different team. They'll get up.
Uh,
They'll turn into superhumans.
See how many wins they have by then.
It may not be
yeah,
many.
my main concern with that game is I mentioned this in the season preview. It's with the way we look right now. There's a good chance we're 11-0 going into that, um, or 10-1 at the worst. And at that point, we're probably already in the SEC championship, and it's just human
Yeah.
nature to kind of
Just slow
okay
up a
if we
little
lose,
bit.
whatever. Like our goal is a national championship, an SEC championship, and A&M is gonna have they'd be like 8-4 or whatever. And they're gonna have their whole season determined by the outcome of that game, or we're going to be looking beyond that. So that
Yeah.
concerns me. But it's like, bro, yeah, we're just so much better than they are, and they can't stand it.
They can't stand it, and they don't have like. I'm more like Red River. That's the one I'm like, I don't care. That's literally legitimately the only game where it's like records don't matter, roster doesn't matter. It's gonna be a rock fight. Not that other one. Not that other one. They're more like us than we are like Sooners.
I'm feeling pretty good against Oklahoma. Oklahoma's
Oh, I like my chances
Yeah,
a lot
they're
now, but I
flirting with
respect that
death.
game too much. I stared down the barrel of that game way too many times to get comfortable. I'm sorry.
yeah. No, I get that. How do y'all feel about that Tennessee Oklahoma game this weekend?
They're gonna get annihilated.
I hope so,
And
bro.
I've been waiting for it because their offense is so clunky. Oklahoma's obviously.
No, you're right,
Yeah,
bro.
And their defense is
Um,
not holding up very well.
they're running that grit
I agree.
defense. Got to be tough. Means you're not fast.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, I like a few guys on that defense, but like a few guys don't make the whole defense. And then on top of that, Arnold looks. I mean, look, I gave Quinn a lot of time, so fine. This guy gets a lot of time, but show me the flashes, man.
Yeah.
yeah. They punted on Gabriel for Arnold, which is wild to me. But I don't know. Maybe he'll shut us up this weekend. But yeah, it looks like it could get ugly. I mean, Tennessee's kind of unproven as well. So who knows? Who knows? It's in Norman. But yeah, man, I'm looking forward to that game so much, Trevor and Matt. Like losing that game hurt so much last year. We should not have lost to OU. And I hope the team wants that game as much as I do as a fan, because I'd rather lose to A&M this year than OU. And usually not. I usually hate A&M as much or more than OU. But this year in specifically, like I don't really care about A&M. I want that Red River. I want that golden hat back. So it'll be fun. And they got a little stress before us, Tennessee and Auburn. So they at Auburn. So they're gonna have some battle scars going into that game. So I kind of want to cycle back and we've been hyping this team up a lot and rightfully so. They look awesome. I mean, there's a lot of hype around Texas right now, and you can see why. But I want to kind of ask y'all this question. I'm going to answer it myself, at least in my perspective at first. Are there things you don't like about this team, like that concern you down the line? Because I do like how the important positions we're all pretty much good at with quarterback, O line. However, and the secondary is very improved, but the D line I'm still not completely sold on, especially when it comes to like running between the tackles. I think a team like Georgia, that's intentional about running between the tackles, maybe even um, in Arkansas with their dual threat quarterback, a lot of zone reads. I think that could become problematic for us. And Marcel Reed's at A&M now; he can run too. So I'm I guess if I had to nitpick this team, I'd like to see more consistency. But also on the same token, I need to realize we're not going to have that run defense that we had last year. We're not going to just hold everyone to 1 yard a carry and just stifle everything. Um, and I do think we make up for it with our speed from the linebackers and secondary. They close like crazy. So and to be fair, we really haven't given up any points. It's a lot of bending, semi-bending, but not breaking, not even really fully bending. Like we're not even giving up field goals very often. So I just want to get like y'all's thoughts if there's anything that you think we can improve on. Um, in particular, because honestly, across the board, it looks pretty like sunshine and rainbows so far.
I got two things, one on each side of the ball. You say like run defense. Uh, I love that Colin Simmons is having his moment and getting sacks. But like, where are the rest of the like? My freshman can't be the only one getting those. Like,
Yeah.
Ethan Burke gonna show up. Like, I mean, we haven't asked you to do a lot because we're well-rounded team. Like, but like you're like the old guy in the room. Like, same thing with Sorrell. Like, you guys gonna get in there anytime soon, or where's Justice Fink, bro? Like, I don't know. Like, I would Trey Moore. Didn't we bring that guy over? I mean, although he has been playing well, but I'm mainly just talking about like pressure on the quarterback and like sack. Like, I know you like sacks and pressures are like not the end or be all on the defensive side, but like that was a thing we wanted to improve on. Sure, I guess you could say that we have, but it feels weird coming from the new guy than the young guy, new and young guy, as in difference to our older guys that we have there that I feel like should be dominating some of these old lines. But pass rushing in college is a different beast in itself. So whatever, maybe I'll be patient. But that's a nitpick I have on the defensive side. Offensive side, I don't like these penalty, these like we're getting false starts. We're getting any of these pre-snap
Snap
penalties,
infractions.
snap infractions. I'm like, God, no, man, like stop. Like this is something you don't do. Something you do when you guys are like haven't been around each other a lot and you're feeling each other's tendencies and stuff. This is a junior and senior line. I mean, come on, it's experienced line if that. I mean, one guy I'm looking at, was it DJ Campbell or was it Cam Williams? I don't know. I forget what game it was, but like the whole, I think it was the Michigan game. Was it Campbell? Was it
Cam
I get those
Williams.
guys mixed. It was Cam
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 Williams.
Williams.
It was like,
Like
yeah,
5 penalties.
yeah. I was like, dude, stop. Like these are all in your head, and I don't know. I don't like undisciplined football, and I think that's the easiest thing to control in football. So that on the offensive side. So I guess it's the line on both sides for me. If it had a nitpick.
Mhm.
Yeah, I'll give one on both sides of the ball too. Offense, I agree with the penalties on the offensive line, but our offensive line is looking the best that I've ever seen. So I'm not going to complain.
Oh yeah, I'm not gonna yeah, I'll forget about that
I
tomorrow, but it's
agree.
just something that's a pet peeve of mine.
Clean up those penalties for sure. If we do get into a close game, like those will matter, but at the same time, like our offensive linemen are like really killing it this year, which is so weird that that penalties are like a struggle, yet they're doing so well. It's like a oxymoron. Um, Offensively, I'm gonna say running back room only because, and yeah, Gibson's been great. Wisner's been pretty solid for us. Not honestly, Gibson's impressed me a lot more, and then Blue, but I don't know, man. This is a team that I continuously look at and I'm just like, imagine if we had CJ Baxter. Like, we'd be so good. Like, it'd be so unfair with Baxter in to balance out Blue. And it's just, we're getting by right now. But when we play like a Georgia or something like that, you really need to have good running back. And again, like Blue's good. I really think he's good, but he's already kind of starting to battle injuries and knock on wood that recovers and he does fine, but we're still like one injury away from like getting to a scary place where we're relying on Gibson a lot and again, I like Wisner, but I don't know if he's like he's definitely not an every down back. Um Now go and change that, Wisner. Like that, you know, be great. But I don't know, man. That position still kind of it scares me a bit. And seeing every time Blue goes down and like kind of gets up gingerly, and every game he's played in, that's happened this season. It makes me very nervous. So that on offense. On defense, I agree with the defensive line to an extent, but like Myers said, our linebackers have been really solid in run defense, and I don't know. I think I said this in the Michigan preview, but I feel like this defense is very cohesive, and it's kind of like, where it gives up in certain areas, it makes up for in others, and it's just like very balanced. It's a, I mean, obviously it's a unit, but it feels, like a unit. Like, oh, there's a gap here, but it's immediately getting filled, or oh, there's a breakdown here. Well, it's immediately being covered up by something else. Um, but yeah, we got to get home on these pressures. It's weird that Simmons is like the only guy that can really finish. And we're not playing world beaters at quarterback. Like,
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
who's the
Like,
best quarterback we played so far? I can't even
why don't
name
we
who
have
it
like
is.
3 guys with 2 sacks or something? Like
Right.
4 guys with a sack each. So I don't understand.
Yeah, and I know people keep saying like, oh, the quarterbacks are just getting rid of the ball really quick, and I don't buy that, man. Like
I mean,
you
sure,
gotta,
but like not every play.
yeah, you
I
gotta
mean,
be able to finish.
we got 3 sacks last week. That's an improvement.
Sure,
So let's
sure.
make it 4 or 5 this week against General Booty.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, that happens. I'm never gonna talk again then. We're good.
Yeah.
I will say though, secondary I'm very impressed with, but I just want to see us against a good quarterback. Like,
Hmm.
I feel like they haven't been tested, and I don't know if they really will all season. Like, I
Yeah.
mean, Georgia, Carson Beck has that ability, kind of, but
Did you watch
I'm
the
really not that worried.
Bro,
He's not Michael
yeah,
Penix, you
exactly.
know.
Yeah.
Um, I mean, who in
You're
college
like
football right
7
now?
Michael Penix too.
Now that I think about this, who in college football right now is just dealing?
Maybe Dylan Gabriel if he's on fire again, if he played him in the playoffs.
Dealing?
But he's not doing that
Uh,
right now. He like yeah,
Cam
there's
Ward?
no
Cam Ward, but I mean,
uh,
I don't know. Cam Ward's fun. How about that?
Jackson Dart maybe maybe
Yeah,
Dart.
Jackson Dart.
Okay,
I'll give
Jackson
him
Dart.
that.
We'll go with Jackson Dart. He's legit
Yeah,
balling.
yeah.
Absolutely.
If Texas and Ole Miss meet in a in the SEC championship, maybe national
Could be national
championship,
championship.
that'd be
No?
wild. Um, yeah, I don't know, and it's unfortunate because, well, it's not unfortunate. It's rich man problems, but it's like, you I almost wish we got tested a little bit, a little bit better, just so I know for
Yeah.
sure, like, okay, this secondary is really locking stuff down. And again, they've been pretty good compared to what, at least a big step up from what we've seen. Um, you just if you make it to the playoff, you want to be a little bit tested and not just go in and be like, we caked walked in. Not that we caked walked in, but like we haven't played a
Yeah,
quarterback that
no.
knows how to throw a
Yeah.
ball very well, and then all of a sudden you're going against, Dylan Gabriel or Jackson Dart. I'll even give Milrow. I'll give Milrow a shout out at that. Because I know what he can do. He can throw a good deep ball. Um, that's what I'd say. Maybe special teams too. Even though I do like um why am I blanking? Bird Auburn. Even though I do like Bird Auburn, he did miss a field goal this year, and I was like, oh, that kind of sucked. But that shows you how good we've been playing. Like one guy misses a field goal, and it's like, ooh, that was like a frustrating moment, 3 games in, it's like, oh, that's like the stain on the stain of the season. Um, anyway, yeah, that's mine.
How do y'all feel about Silas Bolden returning these punts? I feel like
Yeah, he
there's
needs to
always
chill
some
out.
disaster
Yeah,
every
he's playing a dangerous game, dude.
Yeah, and I get it. He wants to make a splash. He's not getting as many touches as I think any of us
Yeah.
anticipated he would. Um, I want to see him on some like jet sweeps or I want to get him a little more involved on things, but so many mouths to feed. I mean, it's hard. Like I know a lot of people have been upset that Jonte Cook hasn't gotten a lot of shine, and last week that kind of changed. And honestly, with Arch playing, I feel like Arch and Jonte are like they got a connection, kind of similar to how Quinn and um, you know,
Golden. Or you're
oh
talking about in the past?
yeah, well, no, I mean, I was gonna say Golden, but I was like, is it Golden? Is it Bond? It's both of them.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Oh, it's
you can
definitely both.
tell.
Yeah.
You can tell that Jonte and Arch definitely have a thing going.
Yeah.
But
They definitely have a
yeah,
situation. A
They got a
situation.
little, yeah, bro. They're hanging out after hours, after team meetings, bro.
they got it going on. Um, that's
But
funny.
shout out DeAndre Moore getting his first touchdown. That guy's
Yeah,
been
Yeah, I'm happy for that guy.
that guy has got Whittington in him. He's our best blocking receiver. If you go back and watch, he puts his heart into every play. And I'm glad he finally got rewarded with the nice touchdown.
yeah,
So more to come. But yeah, every week it's someone different. It was Wingo and Jonte and last week and this week. Hopefully it's we get Silas one or two because he's due now and just keep everyone happy. Just keep spreading it around.
yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
One thing that I'm happy to see is Gunnar Helm progression.
Oh yeah,
Beautiful. Beautiful. It makes not hitting on that Stanford tight end. I can't say his last name. It's too long or it's too difficult. But that tight end that was in that top tight end chance in the transfer portal, I'm glad that we missed out on him now because Gunnar Helm is like that type of tight end. He'll block, he'll catch up 40-yard bomb. So really happy for his progression, and also that we're not relying on like the speedster knee black to like be that guy. So very happy to see that he's contributing.
Yeah, he's making himself some money this year. I mean, shoot, he's going to be up there in terms of the tight end ranks, I would imagine, in the draft with the way he's playing.
yeah, it's pretty amazing. I mean, he's been the guy that's taken away the touches
Yeah,
from the receivers. They've
that
they've
hurt.
been.
I didn't know he had that in him. That was
Yeah,
crazy.
I know he had that in his bag, dude. To be honest with you,
I don't know. He's been hurdling guys. I've seen him hurdle
has
Yeah,
he?
people. Yeah, I've seen it
not
before.
like
Maybe I'm
that.
forgetting. This guy took it off the sideline like went straight 180 with his legs, dude. I don't know.
Yeah,
It's
I mean,
unheard of from someone that big.
it is impressive. I know against Michigan, I think I saw like some Michigan fan tweet and be like, why do they have like a Gronkowski clone on
yeah.
their team? Like, this isn't fair. He keeps checking it down to this Gronkowski clone. Uh, that's a high compliment. I don't think he's as
Yeah,
big as
that's
Gronk,
big
but
time.
his
When you got the
catching
fans
ability.
making like yeah, no, when you got the fans making unrealistic comps for your team, that means you're doing well.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Any final thoughts before we wrap up this show? Do you want to throw in a little ULM prediction just for shits and giggles?
Yeah, for old time's sake, I think we should. I think the last thing I'll say, and we can go into predictions, is so what happens when and I know is knowledgeable, good Texas fans. This is Quinn's team 1,000%. We've been saying that this whole episode, but the noise is going to turn up a notch at the end of this week when Arch probably goes for 6 touchdowns and has all these highlight plays, and then the Heisman odds shift to Arch is like a top 5 candidate. The noise is going to be like crazy. I would bet Saturday night and Sunday, assuming that everything goes well, which I think it probably will. So I really hope that Quinn's back for Hail State because I don't want this to become a thing where Arch is just so good
Yeah.
against bad opponents where like it's hard to justify taking him out because, like I said, we need a proven guy when it comes to the big games that are a lot tougher than ULM and Hail State.
Well, not even that. I don't want Quinn to be. I mean, he's already overshadowed by
Yeah,
Arch. but to a level that people don't even remember that that exists, which we're already kind of I mean, he hasn't even started a game, and we're already kind of venturing into that territory. Like I said, when Texas got the #1 ranking, all you see is Arch this, Arch that. It's just like, what, dude? Like, you just crowned Quinn like the Heisman favorite the week before, and everyone's like, who's that guy? It's wild. Um, yeah, I agree. Quinn needs to get back and get healthy, and
I mean, it's hard to put the genie back in the bottle, but I think, I mean, think back to any of these, um I I can't think of one off the top of my head, but like you are like DJU and Trevor Lawrence. I think that was one of them. Um, the guy that they were replacing was just clearly not the guy. And I think the unique situation that we're in now is we had like Quinn is a guy, whether like the media hype says he's not, it says he is, they do say he is, but they want to move on really fast, right? Uh, you know, they'll say that he's the guy. Well, we know that Quinn is the guy, and on top of that, I think we know enough about the Manning philosophy in the sense that like it wouldn't hurt anything if that makes sense, like uh, relationship wise. So I think in that regard, we're in a good spot to like put it back in the bottle, but we'll see. It's I won't say scary. It's not scary. It's just I just don't know what's gonna happen, and I'm worried.
it's a
Yeah,
good problem. I think.
It's a great problem. No, it's a great problem. Don't be like that.
I mean, I hope that the team like knows like, okay, we're not gonna turn this into like a ooh,
No,
who's
it's one of
actually our
those like
quarterback,
team
where the
mutiny
locker
type
room
things. Like
locker
we're not
room's
going out there.
divided.
Yeah, we're not going out there if it's not Arch, right? Like, oh, that'd be scary. Then that's what I'm scared of.
Yeah. I think our team's too smart for that, but I don't know.
I hope
You
so.
always hear about that.
yeah. It's a mature team. I think they know it's Quinn's team, but they respect Archer too. Yeah, I remember a long time ago, probably 3 years ago, we did that video. If you had to choose one, Archer or Quinn, who do you want to
Yeah.
tech? And all these angry people in our comments were like, "Well, you're not getting either." So, no shot, y'all get both.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
look at us right now.
Yeah. That
Oh
is a funny
man.
video to go back to. Because
Yeah,
it was me and you, Myers, and we were like debating it out. You were like, I really want Quinn. Like he's so like, he's Texan and has
yeah,
these ties and everything like that. And I'm just like, nah, man, you gotta have Arch. I'm telling you, like an Arch Manning jersey with Texas on it, like that's the most marketable piece of material that you can have on the market. And
yeah,
I don't know, I guess we're both right, but
No, I think my favorite part was the crowd telling us that even if we got both of them were gonna, not pan out. like, like even if we got both of them, like not even one of them was gonna work. Both of them, like, and if you go look at the past recruiting rankings, like of like, go far back or like what is it? What are Arch and Quinn like the highest rated 5-star quarterbacks like
yeah.
ever, or they're in that echelon of recruits? And if you look at that list, like all those guys are just college studs. Like all those guys are winners and like killers. And like to think that like all of a sudden like we had two of those guys at the same time and like both of them were just not gonna work out. I like to think about all the hours I spent battling people on that take and looking at where we are now. So it's amazing.
Yeah. Myers, were you gonna say anything or we good to move
no,
on
man,
to our predictions?
we're good, man. We're good. It's a great time to be a Texas fan.
Yes. I'll lead it off. I'm gonna say I'm just pulling this out of my butt. I'm gonna say 51. We score a field goal because I think Trey Owens is gonna get a good amount of playing time, and I don't think we're gonna finish off every drive with him. 51, nothing. I think defense goes back to pitching a shutout. That may be a little too cocky. I don't know. I think we should have pitched a shutout last game, to be honest. I think we got a little sloppy. Um, and then yeah, Arch lights it up. Um, but maybe 51's too high. I don't know. I envision an Arch. I love Madrid's reactions. He's like, yeah, yeah, no, 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 no.
Don't
I
back off of this, man.
I'm kind of envisioning at least one pick from Arch. Like he's gonna mess up at some point. It's gonna happen, and if it happens, like
That's
let it be in
fair.
this
He
game,
is, yeah.
like where
First
there's
start.
no.
Okay.
But I don't know. I see a shutout. Regardless, maybe 51's too high. Maybe I drop it to like 45, nothing. But it can't be too far off from what you guys are about to
You're
predict.
not, yeah. Literally, no. For me, I think Arch is a touchdown machine, especially at home. So like, I'll give if this was Quinn, 49-7. If but Arch is in, I think you got to account for one touchdown going off the board. So 40. Wait, what's that math there? What's hold
40.
on. 42, right? No. Yeah, right? Yeah, 42.
41.
There you go.
41.
No, 41.
Wait,
41.
what? You said
It's
49.
42.
You said 49. 49 minus 7 is 42.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh,
No, we're going 42. We're going 42. Long day. 42-7.
42.
Us, obviously.
49 is kind of a weird number,
ULM.
though.
You-
Did we get a
42-7.
safety?
ULM.
Bro. Okay.
2-point
Yeah, I
conversion.
want to get crazy with. I think Arch is like really explosive, as we saw, like more explosive than Quinn. So I do think we have like some crazy lead at halftime. I'm gonna say it's gonna be like we're gonna have like 42 points at half. I'm just gonna be
Damn.
we're an orange Kool-Aid, of course,
And
but
then we just kind of like
I,
run the ball for the second half.
Yeah.
yeah, I think we take the foot off the gas. I think we do get in the 60s though. I do think we end up surpassing the 60 for the first time this year. I'm gonna say it's what would that be like 56 plus. I'm gonna say 60,
Yeah, there you
66
go.
to 10. 66 to 10.
I like that.
That's a number in my head. We give up a garbage touchdown, probably in the first half, another breakdown, but still we play good outside of that. So 66-10 Horns.
I've been chasing this score since I was like in high school. I forget who Oregon was playing. It was during the Mariota years, and it was like I remember watching ESPN and like they played. I don't know who they played, but like it was like they legit had like 78 on the board, and I was like, dude, pushing 100, dude. Like that's crazy. I want to see that again. So hopefully one day we do that.
I
Yeah,
mean,
I
we
mean
got 70 that one time.
TCU put up 82 on Oklahoma State
There
or
you
Tech
go.
2 years ago. That was wild.
It's
Yeah,
crazy if that game goes into like overtime. Like it's that maybe, especially with those rules back then, like maybe 100, dude.
yeah, cool, man.
Yeah, I know.
Anyone going
No, I
to the game?
would not be in attendance.
I don't think so. Unfortunately,
Yeah, I'm not.
I'll be watching though.
On
Closely.
ESPN Plus.
On ESPN Plus,
Yeah.
I will find my ways to find that game.
Find a way.
I will find a way to find that game. Let's believe.
Streamings.com.
Yeah. Anyway, if you guys made it to the end, thank you. I think we went a little
Appreciate you.
long, but we had fun. Being number one is fun. So enjoy it.
Please.
We aren't typically this relaxed on the show. So have a good time, man. Enjoy this.
Yeah, man.
Like, comment, subscribe, all the usual. Drop your predictions or whatever you want in the comments. We'll happily look through whatever you put down below. Anything else, guys?
Oh man, this team's special, so it's gonna be a fun year. So, of course, be
Enjoy the
grateful.
fall.
Be grateful.
Enjoy the fall season coming.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
miraculous. You can turn your brain off now.
Yep. Horns up. We'll see you guys in the next video, and say a prayer for Quinn. We need
Yeah.
him back.
Light a candle.
Light a candle. Light a Quinn candle.
Let's get that oblique
Yeah.
right. Let's get that oblique right.
Yeah. Y'all take care.